Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you doing? Are you enjoying this amazing conferencing? Well, let's start in the name of God, the most compassionate, the most merciful. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I was living a life very far from religion, let alone Islam. I was working in an environment, that obviously was filled with lights, glamour, action, stars, all sorts of things, but not exactly spirituality. But God works in mysterious ways, and He knows what He's doing. So from a life of hedonism and materialism, I was guided to find contentment and inner peace by surrendering to God in Islam. Alhamdulillah. Dissatisfaction that I was introduced to Islam, not by a long-bearded imam who perhaps rammed religious rulings down my throat, no, by a handsome sports star, Imran Khan. And I don't know if you know Imran Khan here in America. He was the captain of a cricket team in Pakistan, and he is now running for prime minister also in Pakistan. Anyway, so he talked about philosophy, and I always liked philosophy, and he talked about Islamic philosophy. And in fact, just when I met him, he had just won the World Cup for Pakistan, which had completely passed me by, because being German, I wasn't raised with cricket, so I had no idea who he was. Anyway, he challenged me about the ethical and moral values, you can say. He asked me, for example, what was the purpose of life? What is the purpose of our life? This is one question each and every one of us needs to ask themselves. Why are you here on this earth? What is your contribution going to be? What is it all about? And I simply didn't have an answer. I hadn't thought about it at the time. So anyway, he asked me out, and the first time I turned up to go out with a few friends, I was wearing a mini dress. And we were going out with a few Pakistanis and Indians, and he asked me if I wouldn't mind keeping on my coat all evening, because in his culture, women and men don't show flesh. So, okay, I did that. And, it was a little bit odd, but then when I started thinking about it, it actually made sense. Why should a woman, with her skin, showing her skin, get places in life? Even in business nowadays, I'm always surprised why women often show cleavage and wear mini dresses, whereas men always wear suits. I mean, how degrading it is for a woman having to always show her assets. In advertisements, women advertising half naked any kind of product, from perfume to cigarettes to car tires or whatever it is. That actually is degrading. So when I started thinking about it, that was actually one of the first things I sort of understood and began to change in my own life while I was still interviewing rock stars on MTV. My skirts became longer and cleavage higher. Anyway, so what touched me actually most about Imran wasn't his famous friends, but it was how he was going to build. He was actually in the process of building a cancer hospital where the poor people would be treated for free in Lahore, because they didn't have any cancer hospitals at all. And he said to me, believe in God and do good deeds. Just like our previous speaker was saying, that is the essence of being a Muslim. And I quite liked that. Imran also talked a lot about spirituality. The fact that we are made of mind, body and soul. And our soul needs nourishment like the body. And until then, I hadn't even noticed I had a soul. So actually, my discussions with Imran were a little bit of a wake-up call for me. He gave me a lot of books to read. Well, in fact, the very first book he gave me, Man in Islam, really resonated deeply in me. To my great surprise, the doctrines made sense. The idea that there was one God, the creator and destiny of the universe, absolutely powerful, infinitely good, compassionate, ever forgiving, God is greater than anything in the world, yet closer to us than our own jugular vein. I mean, that really resonated with me. I like the idea of worshipping nothing but this one God. Neither fame, nor contacts, nor fortune, nor anything but. Wherever we went with Imran's Jeep, he was surrounded by a crowd of people. Everybody wanted an autograph, photographs taken, or some very poor people pressed a few rupees into his hands. This is for the hospital, you know. And he used to say, it's the poor people who build the hospital, not the rich. I was very impressed by his fellow countrymen being so ready to help. And in fact, everybody wanted to be part of it. I witnessed this. Women took off their jewelry to help this hospital. And now, even until now, poor people are being treated for free. And they're building a second hospital, I believe, I think in Peshawar. And it's a huge success. And you know, it was this friendship and faith, the support of the people for whatever, when I feel it now, you know, for no other reason except for attaining God's pleasure. This is something that is very, very touching when you become a Muslim. So after 3 years of researching, and my friendship with Imran actually had finished, I realized Islam is not an academic exercise. If I wanted to taste the spiritual fruits and feel the religion, feel the spiritual fruits, there was only one way. Get down on your prayer mat and start practicing. So since then, I must say that inner void is filled with meaning, and prayers, dhikr, reading about Islam, God, how to better your character, is my internal inspiration. I pray that we all find ways and means to grasp the light in our souls and disseminate it into the world. Thank you very much, and inshallah, thank you.